Was it right? What I did?
Ask me again in 10 years.
Try not to worry, Ollie. I've been worrying about John for years. He always comes back.
Soon after.
The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agreed to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire update video. Well, my friends, it looks like we have some very interesting news from The Hollywood Reporter. According to an article written by James Hibbard, there is a new Jon Snow sequel series in development at HBO. The network has entered into early development on its first sequel to its blockbuster fantasy drama, a live-action successor show centered on the fan-favorite character Jon Snow. Not only that, but according to this article, it seems that even actor Kit Harington has agreed to renew his role as Jon Snow should the series move forward. The development signals an interesting new direction in HBO's handling of author George R. R. Martin's fantasy universe, in a move not unlike Disney's management of its Star Wars and Marvel brands, where the streamer has found success launching character-focused sequel series such as WandaVision and Obi-Wan Kenobi, with Ewan McGregor stepping back into his iconic role. Now, from a creative standpoint, this new Jon Snow series could upend Game of Thrones' final season as the last word on the fates of the surviving characters in HBO's most successful and Emmy-winning series of all time. In theory, this could open the door for other surviving characters from the Game of Thrones universe to show back up, such as Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, and many other characters. This news means there are now 7 different Game of Thrones series in development in addition to the upcoming House of the Dragon series, which debuts in late August. HBO has not confirmed any of this information, so as of right now, I would take this with a grain of salt. I don't know how accurate the article actually is. As a matter of fact, the Dragon Demands is already saying James Hibbard is lying. I honestly have no idea what to believe right now. I just woke up around 8 AM and this information was the first thing I saw. It's not even 30 minutes later and I'm sitting here gathering my thoughts as we speak. Now, whether this actually happens or not, I do think this makes a lot of sense. If this would happen, HBO would most likely throw a lot of money at Kit Harington to bring him back. And although he may not have initially wanted to step back into Jon Snow's role, he might reconsider if he doesn't like any of the other offers Hollywood is giving him. He was in the Eternals, but I don't know anyone that liked it. If he became Jon Snow again, he would immediately become one of the most famous characters on television, something I know has to be very tempting, especially if HBO would throw the bank at him again. I actually discussed this very same thing happening in one of my recent videos. I said a lot of the Game of Thrones actors would consider coming back to Westeros again once they realized they might never work in something this big again. Maisie Williams has already flirted with this idea before. She certainly sounds like she would be open to acting as Arya Stark again, and I would bet she's not the only one. Now, would any of them coming back actually make sense? As you all know, Game of Thrones left with a lot of open-ended storylines at the end of Game of Thrones Season 8. Not only that, but besides maybe Daenerys Targaryen, Jon Snow is one of their most recognizable characters. I think if HBO really wants to find success after Game of Thrones, a Jon Snow successor show is more likely to bring back a lot of the fans than a House of the Dragon show. When you consider every Game of Thrones fan knows who Jon Snow is, whereas only the hardcore fans know about the Dance of the Dragons. Now, I don't want anyone to think I'm saying a Jon Snow series would automatically be a hit. You would still have to find great writers to make the show make sense. Just because fans recognize Jon Snow doesn't mean they will watch anything the character is involved in. He would obviously have to have something interesting to do. Now, as we all know, when Game of Thrones ended, Jon Snow was heading north of the Wall with Ghost and a very small group of wildlings. As far as we know, there's nothing interesting left north of the Wall. We were led to believe the White Walkers are dead, but that doesn't mean they have to stay dead forever. There are many different ways they could bring them back, as well as some of the other characters we came to know and love in Game of Thrones. I actually wrote out an entire Season 9 for Game of Thrones, which you can find in my list of videos. Now, I'm not saying any of those ideas are great ideas, but what I did was have Daenerys get brought back to life by Kinvara, an idea that was already circulating around the internet immediately after the final season was over. I also had Bran Stark be the next evil villain, something that could easily be set up through his connection with the Three-Eyed Raven, the Children of the Forest, and even the Night King. I had already long suspected that the Children of the Forest and the Three-Eyed Raven were not who we thought they were. In order for them to make Jon Snow's story interesting again, they would most likely have to bring him south to fight in other battles, or remove Bran from King's Landing after finding out he is still being influenced by a faction of the Children of the Forest who are living at the God's Eye. Or, Jon Snow would have to come south again if Daenerys and Drogon came back to Westeros, unleashing their hellish fire again. But I don't think HBO would want to bring her back just to do the same thing over. They could expect the fans to have the same reaction they did the first time Daenerys went mad. Now, another thing you could do is have Grey Worm come back and kill Jon Snow, when and if he ever found out Jon was south again. Also, if Daenerys did come back to life and she still had Drogon, how would she react to Jon Snow murdering her? Would she immediately want revenge, or would she be willing to set that aside to fight for the greater good, assuming there was another evil force amassing in Westeros or even Essos? Now, these are only a few ideas I will throw out there for right now. If you want to know how a Season 9 of Game of Thrones could work, go watch my full Season 9 rewrite. Obviously, they would need some great writers to flesh everything out, but either way, there is still some story to be told if they really wanted to. Since HBO has the rights to A Song of Ice and Fire, they don't even need George R.R. Martin to sign on to it. I'm not saying that would be a wise decision, but they could move forward with the idea whether or not they had his blessing. I mean, they kinda did that with Game of Thrones already, after they no longer had his novels to follow. Again, I do want to say, I don't know if the article is accurate. I will need a confirmation from HBO before I fully believe anything. With that being said, I do think it could work. My final thoughts are, Mr. Harington might be willing to do this if HBO throws him a lot of money, and if he thinks this would be a better option than whatever offers he's currently getting. Like I said, he could immediately go from being forgotten to one of the most famous actors on television again. I also think HBO could make this work if they hired solid writers. There are a lot of ways Jon Snow could have an interesting story, as long as they created some conflict for him again. I'm sure they also wouldn't mind rewriting Game of Thrones history through a new show. I'm sure they've already been thinking about how they could make Game of Thrones ending more digestible. Now, with that being said, they could also make things a lot worse if they bring back these characters just to mess it up all over again. They would obviously be walking a very fine line. And at the end of the day, they don't even need George R.R. Martin to sign on to it. They still own all of the rights to Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, so they could make just about any show they want. Now, I am sure there will be a lot of fans who hate the idea, but just like with House of the Dragon, I guarantee they will be watching any new shows as soon as they are released. As always, I will let you know if any new information is released regarding the new Jon Snow show, or anything else involving Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, or the Winds of Winter. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on any and all information. I want to thank all of you for stopping by and watching the video. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you soon. Bye.